Now, I'm sure most of you have seen Thor by this point, and Kenneth Branagh's getting great praise for it, and Chris Hemsworth, the guy who's playing Thor, great things are going to come for him, and as I'm sure we're going to see now, all these different offers are going to come in for him, and one of them is Snow White and the Huntsman, the project that Hugh Jackman and Viggo Mortensen have just left. Universal are helming this, with Rupert Sanders directing. We know that Charlize Theron and Kristen Stewart are already in this, so that's Kristen's, big next project since Twilight. Again, quite supernatural, so that's obviously something that she's enjoying. Let me know what you think about Chris's casting. A lot of you on my pages, Twitter, Facebook, they are, you're all very positive about it, and a lot of people have been saying, think he's very talented, he's got a natural flair for comedy after seeing him in Thor. He might bring a bit more lightheartedness than, say, Hugh Jackman or Viggo would. But he's obviously a lot younger, and this makes him obviously better for Kristen Stewart. A few people are a bit concerned about the idea of Kristen Stewart and Viggo Mortensen acting together. I'd be quite interested, but I know the whole romance thing was worrying some people. But anyway, because Hemsworth's become so huge because of this massive role in Thor, it's not set in stone. He's the front runner, and I'd be extremely surprised if he wasn't cast, just because of the way that the internet seems to have been getting behind this and all the rumours seem to be saying yes. But again, it's not confirmed, but fingers crossed, I think he'd be fantastic. Now, I've told you about Sacha Baron Cohen's latest project, The Dictator. Now we've found out that Anna Faris will take the female lead. Now, most of you will know her from either Friends, when she plays the surrogate mother of Chandler and Monica's children, or from the Scary Movie franchise. She's got fantastic acting chops, and even though she's mainly in sort of borderline gross-out comedies, we've just seen that trailer I told you about last week with Chris Evans, which is called What's Your Number, which shows that she can be a bit more serious, and I think she can carry a film by herself, which a lot of American female comedians struggle to do, maybe apart from Tina Fey. But I'm really glad she's got this opportunity to work with someone as big as Sacha, and I think this is going to be a really great opportunity for her. Everyone knows her over here, as I said, because of Friends and Scary Movie, but it's going to be great for her to get this sort of push, and what with What's Your Number coming out as well, she's going to catapult. Saoirse Ronan, to me, is the next Cate Blanchett. I think for a little Irish girl, after seeing her in Atonement and realising what an incredibly perfect English accent she could do, and obviously seeing Hannah and The Lovely Bones, her ear for accents is incredible. I think she's going to be one of those constantly Oscar-nominated actresses, and her career I just see stretching on forever. I don't see people ever not wanting to work with her or utilise her. And the fact that Joe Wright has obviously gone back to her twice now, and the fact that Peter Jackson actually wanted her for The Hobbit, and we're just not sure if the schedules are working out at the moment, just proves how in demand she is. Now, Stephenie Meyer, the woman who wrote the Twilight Saga, which I know has just made either half of you completely groan and maybe turn off, don't, or the other half of you excited. She had another book which a lot of you might have heard of called The Host. Saoirse Ronan's just been given the main part at Cannes Festival this year. The bidding is going to start, and I see this being a huge war. I think everyone's going to go for this. I think, obviously, where Summit released the Twilight Saga, I don't think they've got a shot at this. I think it's going to be someone more like Universal or maybe Lionsgate, something a bit different, who's going to go for it. They're going to have the money because they know how successful her things are. And if people say from the makers of the Twilight Saga, and the fact that so many people recognise Saoirse and a lot of younger girls sort of look up to her, they think she's incredible. I just see this literally flying out of control and everyone wanting a piece. So it'll be really interesting to see who takes it, whether, as I said, it will be someone, massive like Warner or Universal or Fox, or whether it will be someone a bit more quirky films, like Lionsgate. So I'll let you know as soon as I find out. After Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi obviously sort of drew back into his shell a little bit, and he went and did what he knows best, Drag Me to Hell. So I'm glad to see that he's doing something really different now. He's going back to something a bit bigger, a bit more box office friendly, and he's going to do Oz, the Great and Powerful. Robert Downey Jr. was attached for a long, long time, but he's not going to be doing that anymore. James Franco's taken the lead role, which is interesting. I think he can play a lot of different roles, but compared to Downey Jr. and the age difference, I was quite surprised at his casting. But anyway, the news on this is that Rachel Weisz has just been cast as Evanora, and she'll be the sister to Mila Kunis's Theodora. So that's obviously adding a bit more depth. Well-respected, Oscar-nominated actor. That's two now anyway. It's going to be a good cast. I think Sam Raimi is a massive name, regardless of what people think about him after the third Spider-Man. So he'll drag in a lot of good people, and I've got really high hopes for this. Obviously, there's a few other Oz projects going around. If you don't know about them, search them. There's a couple of there's an animated one, and there's also another live-action one. So we've got the voice of Miss Rachel Berry from Glee. So definitely keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be a lot of Oz going on. But I think Sam's will be great. I think that's going to be the one that's going to be the biggest, so keep your eyes peeled for that one, and as I said, I'll let you know if there's any more casting as soon as I find out. Now, I'm sure for a lot of you it seems that all we get film-wise over the summer is constant Marvel, DC, all these superhero films, but I'm really excited about the Green Lantern. We had that massive 5-minute sort of extended trailer that just showed that they'd really pulled everything together and the money looked like it had been really well spent, and Ryan Reynolds looked great, and I think that's what a lot of people were worrying. They were just thinking he's Deadpool, and if he doesn't get his Deadpool film out, then but he looks great, and I am so excited about this. They've just put up a new trailer, and it finally shows off a lot of the supporting cast, because to be fair, a lot of the supporting cast have only just been cast because they're voices. So Jeffrey Rush, for example, is playing Tom Ray. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I'm really sorry, fanboys. And also Michael Clark Duncan is in there too. You'll recognise him as soon as he comes in because he is huge and his voice is just booming, and he is perfect for that role. Please let me know what you think, and if people don't like the idea of Reynolds being, the Green Lantern, let me know that as well, because I'd like to see the anger from the people that do. Now, we've just found out that Danny Boyle's next film, Trance, after 127 hours, it's going to finish filming before the Olympics. Obviously, it's not going to be out before then, but it's going to finish filming. There's been rumours this week that Michael Fassbender, man of the moment alongside Jeremy Renner, who is everywhere, he's potentially going to be cast in it as well. Not sure if it's just rumours, but it's been put out there. He's obviously getting a lot of really good reviews and press at the moment. He's got X-Men coming out, which I'm really looking forward to. I think he's been perfectly cast in that sort of smooth matinee idol man who you never really know what he's thinking. But he's also got Prometheus, which, just to say as well on the side, Guy Pearce has just been confirmed to be in. And he's got Jane Eyre coming out as well, which apparently a lot of people are saying that they think it's the best adaptation they've ever seen. And that's alongside Mia Wasikowska, who obviously we know as Alice from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Again, this sounds pretty certain that Fassbender will be in it, but I don't know yet. And obviously, Boyle's got enough time, and it's not as big budget as his Hollywood ones, say Slumdog or 127 Hours. So I reckon we'll get some news on that, fairly soon, but don't expect it too soon. But as I said, I will keep you posted. Now, I feel I have a bit of an apology to make. Chris Meeby, I'm sorry. You must think that all I do is spend my time trying to find remakes of, your favourite 80s films that I can just tell you about on Emu and, wind you up with. Because you always tell me how much you hate them. But my favourite comment of yours so far has been how I was excited. Obviously, Meryl Streep is playing Margaret Thatcher, alongside how most of you have. But you tell me how you won't be going to see it as you just hate Maggie. And I just thought that was brilliant. But I'm really sorry about all the remakes I tell you about. But obviously, I've got to do it. Hollywood obviously love their remakes, and I know this week you weren't happy with me telling you about the potential of a Twins sequel. Arnold Schwarzenegger has come back to acting, and everything he's ever made seems to be talked about there being a sequel or a prequel or him coming back. But Twins 2, it's not confirmed. There's just the fact that obviously a lot of press have picked up on the fact that Ivan Reitman, the director, and also Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger have said that they want to do another one, and they loved working together, and they'd be really happy to again. Now, whether that means it'll be Twins 2, I don't know. It might be another project, but just to let you know, there's a possibility that it might happen. But Chris, don't worry, it probably won't be a remake, but don't bet on it. Now, I keep realising that I've been talking about the Hunger Games a lot, and it's obviously getting a lot of momentum. Every week I've been telling you about the new casting, and obviously on I'm Not Wayne Gale, you're seeing all of the updates all the time, because we've had all these different people. We've had loads of rumours. We've obviously had the idea that John C. Reilly might be Haymitch. We've had Elizabeth Banks. There's a lot of people, but we know for certain that we've got Jennifer Lawrence in the main role, and we've got her two male leads either side of her. What I've realised is that I haven't actually told you what it's about, and I've realised a lot of people don't actually know. I haven't read the books, so I'm obviously not the best person to tell you, but I'll give you sort of a brief overview of it, and it sounds fascinating. It's about a group of sort of teens from 12 different districts, and what they do is they fight to the death, and it's televised. So that's Big Brother gone a little bit mad, isn't it? But that sounds really interesting. It's going to be very dark, obviously, and that's why now I think Jennifer Lawrence was perfectly cast, because there was rumours over whether it was going to be Haley Steinfeld that would get the role of Katniss. But I've just found out that Wes Bentley has been cast, and I'm really pleased about that, because I've been thinking about him a lot recently, and you know, there's been an actor that's been in something and you love him or her, and you don't see him in anything. Well, for me, American Beauty, Wes Bentley, who plays the guy that plays opposite Thora Birch, it's Kevin Spacey's daughter, he's just pitch perfect in that, and he's a little bit crazy, a little bit different, a little bit kooky. So this is good news, because he's not really been in enough A-list stuff, and I think he's a fantastic actor, and really excited to see him play opposite Jennifer Lawrence. So let's wait and see. Now answer me this, can Paradise Lost be turned into a modern multi-million dollar budget film? Can it happen? The poems by Milton are huge, and there's so much religious allegory, metaphorical bits. I don't see how they can make it even into one film for people to understand. I don't think they could make it true to the poems and then get a proper box office draw, because I think people would be confused, and I don't see how they could market it properly. There's been some rumours this week that Bradley Cooper would play a lead role in it, and a lot of people, hello Natasha, you've said, no, you don't think it's going to work. So let me know what you think, because A, Bradley Cooper, what do you think about that? And B, can it be done? We found out this week that Quentin Tarantino's next written and directed piece is going to be called Django, I'm guessing Django, Django Unchained. Now, we think Will Smith's been offered the lead in Django Unchained, and this makes me really, really excited. We know he can do action, we know he can do blockbuster, we know he can do little performances, we know he's exceptionally talented. And I think doing it with Tarantino is going to make it quite a broad comedy, but also obviously with maybe some sort of dark moments like we had in Inglourious Basterds, for example. Talking of Inglourious Basterds, apparently Brad Pitt actually has turned down a role in this. And interestingly, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's turned down a role for this as well, which would make that the second film of Tarantino's that he's turned down. DiCaprio was actually originally offered the part of Hans Landa, who Christoph Waltz played and went and won an Oscar for. Can't imagine him playing that part now in comparison to Waltz. I mean, he's made that iconic, absolutely iconic, and obviously, as well as I know that DiCaprio could have done a great part, the part ultimately is Waltz's. So let me know what you think. Do you think that Will Smith's a good choice? Are you excited about seeing him play, you know, opposite the kind of ensemble that Tarantino usually uses, or do you not think he's a great choice? Would you rather see someone like Leo take a role? Okay, so to wrap up, trailer-wise this week, I've got a lot of X-Men First Class character trailers, which are really great actually, compared to maybe the main ones where we haven't got to see some of the smaller main characters like Havoc or Banshee or Beast properly. We get to see them, and also Mystique, who, I'll tell you what, her as a little child, so cute. But have a look at those. I think they're great, and they do start to give us an idea of what those characters are going to be like. Picture-wise, I've got loads and loads of Spider-Man pictures. I've got him, Andrew Garfield, in his suit, a lot better quality, we actually get to see him right up close, and obviously a few more web-slinging ones, which is a given, but have a look at the pictures. But a really exciting trailer, which often worries me because you don't know how it's going to turn out, is one called Colombiana. Now this stars Zoe Saldana, who obviously we know from sort of Avatar, The Losers, Star Trek. She's not short of a bit of cash. The thing is that it's written by Taken's Luc Besson, and it's directed by Olivier Megaton, who he's going to direct the new Taken with Liam Neeson, so it's got that real quick-paced kind of crazy action that you expect, and it looks so gritty. It really reminds me of the shooting style of Tony Scott, for example, in Man on Fire, which is one of my all-time favourite films, so give that a look. Really exciting. Saldana looks smoking hot in it. She plays an assassin. Give it a look, let me know what you think. And then lastly, my Friday clip this week on my blog is Transforminators, which is when poor old Kristen Bell has to deal with both Shia LaBeouf and the Terminators and the Transformers.